The deception of innocence. The massive hegemony vessel Eternal Dominance emerged from hyperspace with a flash of purple light, its crystalline hull gleaming against the backdrop of stars. On the command deck, High Commander Zelvix gazed at the blue planet through six compound eyes, mandibles clicking in amusement. Primitive, he chittered, the translator converting his speech for his multispecies crew. Another backwater world stumbling into space. Scan their technological capabilities. Second Officer Mhura, her tentacles flowing gracefully over the control panel, complied. Minimal orbital presence, Commander, crude satellites, a small space station, and rudimentary lunar outposts. No significant weaponry detected. Their most advanced propulsion appears to be basic fusion drives. Zelvix's exoskeleton shimmered with superiority. They've barely left their cradle. Prepare the standard integration protocol. The hegemony grows by one more world today. What the hegemony forces couldn't detect was that Earth's apparent technological inferiority was the result of the most elaborate deception in human history. For over 70 years, every public space launch, every satellite deployment, every international space station expansion had been carefully staged theater. Deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, in a facility that officially didn't exist, Captain Veronica Hayes stood before the holographic display of the hegemony vessel. Her uniform bore no insignia, but the other officers in the Earth Defense Initiative Command Center stood at attention as she entered. "Status report," she ordered, her voice calm despite the gravity of the moment. Lieutenant Colonel Thomas Powell, head of intelligence, stepped forward. "The hegemony ship is exactly where we expected, Captain. They're following their standard first contact protocols to the letter. Our public-facing space assets are transmitting exactly what we want them to see." "And our real assets?" Hayes asked. "Ghost Fleet remains undetected, Captain," replied Commander Diane Foster from Tactical. "All ships maintaining quantum camouflage, lunar defense batteries powered down and concealed, orbital platforms in stealth mode." Hayes nodded, studying the alien vessel's configuration. It matched their intelligence perfectly. For decades, humanity had observed the hegemony's expansion across this sector of the galaxy, watching from hidden outposts as world after world was integrated into their empire. "They believe we're alone," Hayes said. "Just another primitive species to absorb into their collective." The largest display screen activated, showing a transmission from the United Nations Security Council. Secretary General Hideo Tanaka appeared, his expression appropriately concerned for the world leaders who weren't privy to Earth's true capabilities. "Captain Hayes, the hegemony vessel has made contact with our public channels. They're demanding Earth's immediate surrender and integration into their empire. They've given us 6 hours to comply or face what they call civilization adjustment procedures." Hayes allowed herself a small smile. "Tell them we need time to consult with all Earth's nations. Request an extension of 24 hours. Act frightened, disorganized. Let's give them exactly what they expect to see." "Understood," Tanaka replied, "and the Artemis Protocol?" "Initiate at my command," Hayes answered. "Let them commit their forces first." As the transmission ended, the command center returned to focused activity. Lieutenant Daniel Ockhoffer approached with a secure tablet. "Captain, all battle group commanders are awaiting your briefing." Hayes nodded and followed him to the secure communications chamber. There, arrayed in holographic projections around her, stood the commanders of humanity's true space fleet, 50 warships hidden throughout the solar system, each more advanced than anything the public knew existed. "The moment we've prepared for has arrived," Hayes began. "For 3 generations, we've hidden our true progress knowing this day would come. The hegemony believes they've found another easy conquest. In exactly 18 hours, we'll show them how wrong they are." Commander Darius Washington of the battleship Retribution spoke first. "My crew is ready, Captain. Engine signature masking is holding steady." "Same with Vindication Battle Group," added Commander Prisha Patel. "Weapons hot but contained, no energy signatures leaking." One by one, the commanders confirmed their readiness. Hayes studied the tactical display showing the positions of Earth's hidden fleet. Decades of preparation, technological development, and training were about to be put to the ultimate test. "Remember your objectives," Hayes said. "This isn't just about defending Earth. This is about sending a message to the entire hegemony. Humanity will not be conquered, we will not be subjugated, and we are not the primitives they think we are." Aboard the hegemony vessel, High Commander Zelvix received the humans' request for more time with predictable disdain. Let them have their delay, he told his officers. It makes no difference. Prepare the integration forces. We'll begin landing ground teams in 20 hours. Sir, ventured his security chief, Dravek, a hulking reptilian with metallic scales, should we not conduct more thorough scans? The humans seem unusually calm for a species facing integration. Zelvix dismissed the concern with a wave of his upper limb. They're in shock, Dravek. Like all primitive species, they cannot comprehend the scope of our civilization. Their scanners can barely detect our ship's outer hull, let alone our weapons systems. What possible threat could they pose? As you say, Commander, Dravek replied, though something in his instincts remained unsettled. Back on Earth, as the hegemony prepared their invasion force, humanity's leaders enacted the final stage of a plan laid generations ago. In underground facilities across the planet, soldiers donned powered combat armor that had never been field-tested outside of secret training grounds. Engineers activated defense systems built with technology reverse-engineered from crashed hegemony scouts that official records claimed never existed. In her private quarters, Captain Hayes reviewed the battle plan one final time. On her desk sat a photograph of her grandfather, Admiral James Hayes, who had laid the foundation for the Earth Defense Initiative after a classified encounter with alien technology in 2063. 3 generations of her family had dedicated their lives to preparing for this moment. Her comm unit chimed. Captain, we're detecting deployment activity from the hegemony vessel, Lieutenant Akafer reported. They're preparing their landing craft ahead of schedule. They're impatient, Hayes replied. Good, that means they're overconfident. Alert all commands we move in 6 hours. Let them commit their landing forces first. As night fell across North America, the hegemony began their descent. Hundreds of shuttle craft, each carrying integration teams ready to establish control centers in major cities, entered Earth's atmosphere. From their perspective, the humans were responding exactly as expected, with fear, confusion, and the beginnings of surrender. Secretary General Tanaka delivered a masterful performance, his voice trembling as he announced to the world that alien forces were landing and urged calm cooperation to avoid bloodshed. Only a select few knew that his broadcast was carefully crafted propaganda, not to control human panic, but to reinforce the hegemony's false sense of superiority. High Commander Zelvix watched with satisfaction as the first integration teams reported successful landings. You see, Dravek, no resistance, they know their place already. The security chief nodded reluctantly. It seems you were right, Commander. But as the integration teams began establishing their control centers, something strange happened. Their communications became sporadic. Reports of unexpected resistance emerged from multiple landing sites. Commander, Mhura called urgently, we've lost contact with integration teams in 17 major cities. Zelvix's mandibles clacked in irritation. Restore communications, dispatch security forces to those locations. As the hegemony scrambled to understand what was happening on the surface, Captain Hayes gave the order that humanity had been waiting decades to hear. All commands, this is Hayes. Initiate Artemis Protocol. I repeat, Artemis Protocol is now active. Throughout the solar system, hidden vessels powered up their engines. On the far side of the moon, concealed weapon platforms emerged from their camouflaged bunkers. And in orbit around Earth, what had appeared to be ordinary satellites suddenly transformed, weapon systems deploying as their quantum camouflage dissolved. High Commander Zelvix was receiving increasingly panicked reports when his ship's sensors finally detected the truth. They were surrounded by a fleet that had materialized seemingly from nowhere. Impossible, he hissed, staring at the tactical display. Where did these vessels come from? Before anyone could answer, Captain Hayes' voice came through on all hegemony communication channels. Attention hegemony vessel Eternal Dominance. This is Captain Veronica Hayes of the Earth Defense Fleet. Your integration forces on the ground have been neutralized. Your vessel is targeted by weapons you clearly didn't expect us to possess. The deception is over. Earth is not the primitive world you thought you found. As the hegemony commander stared in disbelief, the largest human vessel decloaked directly in front of his ship. The EDS Vindication, a battle cruiser nearly matching the hegemony vessel in size, brought its main cannon to bear. Hayes continued, her voice steady and resolute. For generations, we've hidden our true capabilities, watching your hegemony absorb world after world. We studied your tactics, your technology, your arrogance. Today, that knowledge pays off. You have one opportunity to withdraw from Earth space immediately. Your next action determines whether your crew lives to report that the hegemony has finally met a species it cannot intimidate. As Zelvik stared at the human fleet surrounding his ship, the realization dawned that he had made a catastrophic miscalculation. The humans weren't primitives stumbling into the cosmic arena. They were patient predators who had just sprung their trap. The unveiling of powers. High Commander Zelvik's compound eyes flared with rage as he faced the impossible. What should have been a routine integration had transformed into a tactical nightmare. His mandibles clicked rapidly, a sign of agitation his crew recognized all too well. Preposterous, he hissed. This is some kind of projection, a primitive deception. The readings are authentic, Commander, Second Officer Mhura reported, her tentacles working frantically across the sensor array. We detect 53 warships, all with energy signatures exceeding our support vessels. Their weapons are locked on our position. Security Chief Dravek moved closer to his commander. We should withdraw and reassess. This changes everything about sector expansion protocols. Zelvik slammed his armored appendage against his command console. I will not retreat from primitives. Power main cannons. Show these humans the folly of resistance. Aboard the EDS Vindication, Commander Prisha Patel received the energy spike readings with cool professionalism. Captain Hayes, the hegemony vessel is charging weapon systems. On the main view screen, Hayes nodded. As expected, their psychology profile indicated a 78% probability they would choose aggression over retreat. All vessels, defensive formation delta, activate quantum shields. Throughout Earth's hidden fleet, advanced systems hum to life. Technology developed in secret, tested in the darkness beyond Neptune, and perfected over decades of preparation now faced its ultimate trial. The hegemony vessel fired first, its primary cannon unleashing a blinding stream of plasma energy directly at the Vindication. The humans watched with calm anticipation as the beam struck their flagship's quantum shields. Rather than penetrating or even straining the defensive barrier, the energy dissipated in a spectacular display of redirected particles. Shields holding at 97%, reported Lieutenant Marcus Ortiz at the Vindication's defensive station. Exactly as the simulations predicted, Commander. Patel allowed herself a small smile. Return fire, targeted strike only, let's demonstrate precision rather than raw power. The Vindication's main battery fired a concentrated pulse of dark energy, striking the hegemony vessel precisely at the junction between its command module and engine section. The alien ship shuddered as localized systems failed. On the Eternal Dominance, alarms blared as Zelvik was thrown from his command platform. Damage assessment, he demanded, regaining his footing. Primary communication array destroyed, Mhura reported, panic evident despite her training. Engine control systems compromised, shield efficiency reduced to 63%. Impossible, Zelvik whispered. They targeted our weakest structural point with perfect accuracy. How could they know? Captain Hayes's voice returned to their communication system. We know everything about your vessels, Commander Zelvik. We've studied every encounter, every integration, every battle the hegemony has engaged in for the past 70 Earth years. Your technology is impressive, but your tactics are predictable. From the hidden command center beneath the Rocky Mountains, Hayes coordinated Earth's forces with methodical precision. The tactical display showed hegemony landing forces encountering overwhelming resistance worldwide. Lieutenant Colonel Powell provided updates from ground operations. The integration teams never knew what hit them, Captain. General Nathan Blackwood reports all landing zones secured. 342 hegemony personnel captured, minimal casualties on either side. Perfect, Hayes replied. Maintain containment protocols. These prisoners will provide valuable intelligence. In orbit, the battle escalated as the hegemony vessel launched its fighter squadrons. Hundreds of crystalline attack craft poured from launch bays, their formation suggesting they expected minimal resistance. Commander Washington's voice came through the tactical channel. Retribution to all vessels, interceptors launched. Engage at will but maintain discipline. Remember your training. Earth's fighters emerged from their carrier vessels, smaller than their hegemony counterparts but demonstrably faster. Major Josephine Reyes led the first squadron into engagement, her voice steady as she directed her pilots. Phoenix Squadron Offense Pattern Theta, Target their command and control nodes first. The space around Earth erupted in a dazzling display of maneuvering craft and weapons fire. To any observer, the difference in fighting styles would have been immediately apparent. The hegemony fighters attacked in rigid formations, following doctrines that had served them well against less advanced species. Earth's fighters moved in fluid, adaptive patterns, constantly changing tactics and exploiting weaknesses. Admiral Marcus Trent, overall commander of Earth's Space Forces, watched the battle unfold from his command vessel, the EDS Prometheus. His weathered face remained impassive, but pride shone in his eyes. "We've trained for this moment for 30 years, he said to his executive officer, Commander Lin Wei. 3 decades of preparation, and still I find myself amazed at the discipline of our forces." "They're performing admirably, sir," Lin replied. "Fighter losses are at 12%, well below projected casualties." Trent nodded. "Signal Captain Hayes, it's time for Phase 2. Aboard the Eternal Dominance, Zelvix faced a rapidly deteriorating situation. Half his fighter complement had been destroyed, critical systems were failing, and the humans had yet to commit their full force to the attack. "We must retreat," Dravak insisted. "The Council must be informed of this threat immediately." This time, Zelvix did not argue. "Prepare jump engines. We will withdraw to Outpost Krell 9 and summon the battle fleet." "Commander," Emhura called out, her voice rising in alarm. "New energy signatures detected. The humans have activated something in their lunar installations." On the dark side of the moon, concealed beneath the regolith of crater Daedalus, Earth's most powerful weapon system came online. The Artemis Array, a massive particle accelerator built into the lunar surface, channeled energy through magnetic containment fields, focusing it into a coherent beam. Captain Hayes received confirmation from the lunar base. "Artemis Array charged and targeting solution confirmed. Awaiting your command, Captain." Hayes studied the tactical display, nodding the hegemony vessel's attempt to align for a hyperspace jump. "Fire control to lunar command. Disable their propulsion system only. Let's not vaporize our first diplomatic contact if we can avoid it." The Artemis Array fired, a blinding beam of concentrated energy that crossed the distance to the hegemony vessel in milliseconds. With surgical precision, it struck the alien ship's engine section, severing power conduits and destroying jump capacitors. On the Eternal Dominance, systems failed catastrophically. Emergency lighting bathed the command deck in an eerie red glow as Zelvix picked himself up from the floor once again. "Jump capability destroyed," Emhura reported, her voice barely audible over the alarms. "Main power at 31%, weapon systems offline. We are defenseless, Commander." For the first time in his long career, High Commander Zelvix faced total defeat. His mandibles moved slowly, the gesture one of resignation rather than defiance. "Open a channel to the human commander," he ordered. Captain Hayes received the transmission request in the command center, where she now stood with Admiral Trent and General Blackwood, who had arrived from field operations. "Accept the transmission," she ordered. "Let's see what they have to say." The main display activated, showing the damaged hegemony command deck. High Commander Zelvix stood at its center, his exoskeleton dulled, no longer shimmering with the arrogance he had displayed earlier. "Captain Hayes," he began, the translator struggling with his subdued tone. "The Eternal Dominance surrenders to your forces. We request mercy for our crew and our ground personnel." Hayes stepped forward. "Your surrender is accepted, Commander Zelvix. Your crew will be treated according to interstellar protocols for prisoners of war protocols we've observed the hegemony often ignores with other species." Zelvix's compound eyes flickered. "You were never primitive, this was a deception." "A necessary one," Hayes replied. "We've watched your hegemony absorb world after world for generations. Those that appeared advanced were conquered through overwhelming force. Those that appeared primitive were subjugated through intimidation. We chose a third path to appear primitive while preparing for your inevitable arrival." Admiral Trent stepped forward. "Your ground forces are already in custody. Shuttles are en route to your vessel to evacuate your crew. Resistance will not be tolerated." "The hegemony will not accept this," Zelvix warned. "When we fail to report, they will send a battle fleet." Hayes nodded. "We're counting on it, Commander. Your empire has operated without challenge for too long. That changes today." As the transmission ended, General Blackwood turned to Hayes. "You realize what we've just done, don't you? We've declared war on the most powerful empire in this sector of the galaxy. No, Hayes corrected. We've announced our existence to an empire that was already at war with every independent species in the galaxy. The difference is we're ready for them. Over the next 24 hours, Earth's forces secured the hegemony vessel and processed its crew. Scientists and engineers began the meticulous work of studying the alien technology, comparing it with their intelligence assessments and identifying any unexpected advancements. In Washington, D.C., the full United Nations Security Council convened an emergency session. Secretary General Tanaka addressed the representatives of Earth's nations, most of whom were learning the truth about humanity's secret space program for the first time. For 70 years, the Earth Defense Initiative has operated in absolute secrecy, funded by contributions from all major powers, with knowledge restricted to a small circle in each government, Tanaka explained. Today, I can reveal that our planet has maintained the most elaborate deception in human history, appearing technologically primitive to the galaxy while developing advanced capabilities in secret. Screens around the chamber displayed images of Earth's true fleet, the Lunar Defense Array, and the captured hegemony vessel. Gasps and murmurs filled the room as the scope of the revelation became clear. The hegemony will respond with force, Tanaka continued. We anticipate a significant battle fleet will arrive within 2 standard weeks. Earth's defense forces are preparing accordingly, but this marks our formal entry onto the galactic stage. There is no going back. In orbit, aboard the Vindication, Commander Patel met with Captain Hayes as they observed Earth from the observation deck. The blue planet turned peacefully below them, its inhabitants largely unaware of how dramatically their place in the universe had just changed. The fleet performed beyond expectations, Patel noted. Minimal casualties, maximum effect. The training simulations paid off. Hayes nodded, but her expression remained somber. This was the easy part, Prisha. We've spent 3 generations preparing for a single hegemony vessel. Now we face their full might. Are we ready? Patel asked. Hayes turned to her friend and colleague. We've done everything possible to prepare. Our ancestors laid the foundation. We built upon it. Now we find out if it's enough. Throughout the solar system, Earth's hidden defense network fully activated. Stealth monitoring posts beyond Pluto began tracking hegemony communications, confirming their worst fears. A battle fleet of unprecedented size was being assembled. The deception was over. Humanity's true power had been unveiled, and the greatest test of Earth's resolve was just beginning.